Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate home for everything Liverpool FC. We've got drama, emotion, and transfer twists coming your way today. Darwin Núñez gets a surprise bonus after the Japan friendly. Luis Diaz says a heartfelt goodbye as he seals a move to Bayern Munich. And the Alexander Isak saga heats up as Liverpool plot a move, but with a twist in the tale. Stick around for all the latest updates, insider scoops, and red-hot transfer buzz you won't want to miss. Smash that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in. Darwin Núñez confusion as Liverpool star handed major bonus after Japan friendly. Paul Gorst reports from Japan as Liverpool beat Yokohama F. Marinos in their final preseason friendly of their Asia tour. Liverpool concluded their two-game tour of Asia with a 3-1 win over Yokohama F. Marinos in Japan on Wednesday night. A total of 67,032 turned out at the Nissan Stadium to watch the game itself, and the Reds turned it around after initially falling behind in the second period through Asahi Wanaka's goal. After Florian Wirtz had equalized, it was Trey Nyoni who put the finishing touch on Jeremy Frimpong's cross before Rio Ngumaha made it 3-1 late on with an eye-catching strike. It brings the curtain down on a successful 2 weeks for the Reds, who had earlier visited Hong Kong for the first time since 2017, losing to AC Milan at the Kai Tak Stadium. The Echo was on the tour throughout and was in Yokohama to run the rule-over proceedings on Wednesday evening. Núñez confusion. There was some confusion as to whether or not Darwin Núñez was cleared for action at the Nissan Stadium on Wednesday night. The Uruguay striker sat out Saturday's friendly defeat to AC Milan in Hong Kong, but Arne Slot had indicated that he would be okay to feature in Japan. And while Núñez was named on the team sheet when the club's official graphic dropped around 90 minutes before kickoff, the Reds' number 9 was left off the papers that were distributed to the media ahead of the game by staff. It led to some confused looks and questions as to whether or Núñez would actually be involved. Had he been pulled from the squad ahead of potential transfer away? Had he suffered an injury in the warm-up? Or was it simply an oversight by the Japanese organizers? If you picked option C, then you found the top answer. The emergence of the man himself for the second half dispelled the doubts, and the striker, judging by the noise reserved for him, maintains a huge amount of support in the Japanese wing of the Liverpool Supporters Club. The hometown hero. It's something of a rarity for Mohamed Salah to be overshadowed at a Liverpool appearance, but even the Egyptian king couldn't quite compete with the ovation reserved for Japan national captain Wataru Endo on the night. Surely Yokohama's most famous footballing son, Endo's name was loudly cheered when it appeared alongside an accompanying image on the big screen before the game, outstripping the rest of the Red squad for sheer decibel levels. And that was nothing compared to the reaction from the fans inside the ground when he was shown on the substitutes bench shortly after the second half got underway. He was given a standing ovation when he emerged for Virgil van Dijk shortly before the hour mark, and was also saluted at full time when he was encouraged by his teammates to hoist aloft the no doubt prestigious J-League World Challenge Shield during the lap of honor. Luis Diaz shares emotional farewell message after sealing move to Bayern Munich. Luis Diaz bids emotional farewell to Liverpool with poignant message. Departure marked by genuine emotion. As Liverpool began their preseason preparations in Yokohama, a message from 5,900 miles away brought a wave of emotion to the fanbase. Luis Diaz, now officially a Bayern Munich player following his £65.5 million transfer, used the moment to say goodbye in a message that echoed with sincerity and heart. Posting on Instagram just as Arne Slot's side were stepping onto the pitch in Japan, the Colombian international offered words that resonated with everyone connected to the club. His farewell was not scripted nor manufactured. It was the expression of a player who fully embraced Liverpool and its people. 3 years and a half that I'll treasure forever. I arrived with all the dreams in the world, and I am leaving proud of everything we achieved together, he wrote. Legacy built on commitment and class. Signed from Porto in January 2022, Diaz swiftly became one of Liverpool's most reliable performers. He lifted the League Cup, FA Cup, and most recently, the Premier League, under new manager Arne Slot. His tally of 17 goals in 2024-25 underlined both his productivity and importance, even as competition on the left wing intensified. There were stretches where Cody Gakpo was preferred, but Diaz never withdrew. Instead, he remained the embodiment of commitment, energy and flair. His departure was always going to feel significant, but it is his final words that truly underline what he meant to the club. Farewell carries tribute to Jota. In a particularly moving moment, Diaz honored former teammate Diogo Jota, who tragically passed away earlier this year. His tribute offered a glimpse into the deep bonds that existed within the squad. It would have been the perfect goodbye if we hadn't lost one of ours in such a tragic way, Diaz wrote. As I said, and I repeat, I carry everyone with me in my heart, but one of them in particular, Diogo. I will never forget him. We will never forget him. That sentiment will not be lost on the Liverpool dressing room or supporters. Diaz's message reinforces that football is far more than contracts and transfers. It is about people, connection and memory. With Hugo Ekitike now part of Liverpool's squad and further interest in signing Alexander Isak, the competition for attacking places was always likely to increase. The timing of Diaz's departure, then, is as practical as it is emotional. Yet it does not make it any easier to accept. The player who arrived with ambition now leaves with medals and memories, not just for himself but for those he played alongside. Now in Bavaria, Diaz starts a new chapter with Bayern Munich. But his parting words will remain etched in Liverpool's modern story. His humility, empathy, and passion made him a favorite. His farewell message confirms he will be remembered with affection and respect. Man United stick dagger into Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer as Reds ready bid. Manchester United could inadvertently damage Liverpool's pursuit of Alexander Isak. Manchester United's pursuit of Benjamin Sesko has reportedly dented Liverpool's hopes of signing Alexander Isak. Newcastle are said to be fearing that they will miss out on their ideal replacement for Isak after United hijacked their move for the Slovenia international. Isak's surprise decision to tell Newcastle that he wished to leave prompted a flurry of activity in the transfer window. The Magpies, who were already light in attack, knew they needed to source a replacement before allowing the 25-year-old to leave. Sesko is widely understood to have been their top target, but the RB Leipzig star is reportedly more interested in a move to Old Trafford. Whether Isak departs Newcastle hinges on whether the Tyneside outfit can find an alternative. According to the Daily Mail, Man Utd's strong interest in Sesko has therefore provoked fear at Newcastle. The 22-year-old is the Red Devils' priority signing after Ruben Amorim missed out on Liam Delap and Victor Gyökeres. A new striker is high on the agenda in Manchester. Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee scored a combined 7 Premier League goals last season, prompting Amorim to decide that a new centre-forward was required to play alongside summer arrivals Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha. United now lead the race to sign Sesko, and Newcastle could be set to miss out on the highly coveted number 9. That could prompt Newcastle to turn down any approach made by Liverpool for Isak. Boss Eddie Howe has repeatedly said that any exit for their star man will need to be right for the club. It comes amid reports that Liverpool are preparing an offer. Newcastle are expected to demand at least £150 million. He is still our player. He's contracted to us, Howe said during Newcastle's trip to Seoul this week. We, to a degree, control what is next for him. I would love to believe all possibilities are still available to us. My wish is that he stays, but that's not in my full control. We have not received a formal offer for Alex, from any club. If Isak leaves without Newcastle finding a replacement, Howe could enter the new Premier League season without a recognised centre-forward. Callum Wilson left on a free transfer last month, while highly rated teenage striker Sean Neve is yet to make his competitive senior debut. Meanwhile, Liverpool are targeting Isak despite spending a reported £79 million on Hugo Ekitike earlier this summer. Luis Diaz's departure to Bayern Munich for £65 million is likely to give the Anfield outfit plenty of headroom for more new arrivals, amid a £300 million splurge. Alexander Isak staggering Liverpool wages as want-away star pushes for dream move. Liverpool are chasing a move for Alexander Isak, but they will have to pay Newcastle a staggering price of £150 million if they want the deal to go through, and the player will also demand a big salary package too. Alexander Isak is reportedly set to become one of Liverpool's top earners if he seals a move to Anfield this summer. The Newcastle striker is high in demand and could be on his way out after informing the Magpies that he wants to consider his options. Liverpool have been strongly linked with a move for the Sweden international, who could cost as much as £150 million after his sensational displays in front of goal last season, scoring 27 times. The Reds were initially told Isak wasn't for sale and instead opted to sign Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht for £79 million. But after the 25-year-old failed to travel with Newcastle for their pre-season tour in Asia, Liverpool have now been given hope that they could still pull off a deal for their top target. Such a move would top Liverpool's spending of nearly £300 million that has seen the arrivals of stars like Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez and Ekitike, and it would put him in the same lane as some of the top earners at the club. According to Sky in Germany, Isak would earn around the same amount as Ekitike, who has just penned a deal worth £250,000 a week. Should Isak agree those terms, it would put him joint third behind talisman Mohamed Salah, who has just signed a new deal worth an incredible £400,000 a week, and captain Virgil van Dijk. The Dutchman is said to make around £385,000 a week after he also extended his contract at Anfield. It's understood Isak is cashing in around £120,000 a week at Newcastle, and his motivation to make the move to Liverpool will only grow knowing that he stands to double his salary. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has repeatedly insisted he is confident Isak will be staying put this season, but was slightly more downbeat about his future after he failed to link up with the squad on their pre-season tour. "He is still our player," Howe said. "He's contracted to us. We, to a degree, control what is next for him. I would love to believe all possibilities are still available to us. My wish is that he stays, but that's not in my full control." Howe previously excluded him from the 4-0 friendly defeat to Celtic because he was concerned about the ongoing transfer speculation. Liverpool hero slams Bayern Munich transfer plan after Luis Diaz move. "I wouldn't pay it." Former Liverpool and Bayern Munich player Didi Hamann has not pulled his punches when assessing the German's window, and that's despite the signing of Luis Diaz. Bayern Munich's transfer window is grinding into gear after a big move to sign Luis Diaz from Liverpool was sanctioned. Nevertheless, Didi Hamann has given a scathing assessment of the Bavarian summer. A hero at Liverpool for his role in the Istanbul triumph, Hamann has become known as a pundit for his blunt, no-nonsense approach. The Reds have occasionally been on the end of it, but it is Bayern that has attracted his ire on this occasion. The move for Diaz comes after Bayern missed out on Florian Wirtz, to none other than Liverpool. And while Hamann does not necessarily have an issue with signing the Colombian, who enjoyed a good year under Arne Slot and stands every chance of succeeding in the Bundesliga, he feels that the club has been mismanaged behind the scenes. Of course, Liverpool has been the major beneficiary of Bayern's woes. When it snatched up the gem of the Bundesliga in Wirtz, it cannot have imagined that would ultimately lead to receiving such a handsome fee for Diaz, a 28-year-old winger. In short, missing out on Wirtz has had Bayern on the back foot all summer. Hamann believe it goes back even further. Bayern's problem is, last year, many contracts were promised, like those for Alphonso Davies, Jamal Musiala, or Joshua Kimmich, which the supervisory board then didn't approve. Hamann explained, via goal. "This kind of thing costs reputation. Bayern has communication problems. A lot of things could have been prevented if they had sat down and discussed beforehand how much money was allocated for what. And they agreed with the players, like with Wirtz and Woltmade. But you have to inform the other clubs sometimes. The question for management is whether it's worth a call to Bayer Leverkusen sporting director Simon Rolfs or Stuttgart chairman Alexander Werle. They found out all about it from the newspaper. All of this cost time and reputation, and ultimately money too. The next one became increasingly expensive. Liverpool hesitant to meet asking price of star they want signed before Isak. Liverpool are reluctant to meet the £40 million asking price they've been quoted for a player who is in a unique position of power, according to a report. The transfer headlines around Liverpool of late have been dominated by Alexander Isak, and understandably so. The Reds have a verbal agreement on personal terms in place with the Newcastle ace, and they're prepared to table a mammoth bid worth £120 million. A deal at that price would make Isak the most expensive signing in British football history, surpassing the £116 million package Liverpool agreed for Florian Wirtz earlier this summer. However, Liverpool could yet complete another signing before Isak steps foot at Anfield, so long as they're prepared to pay £40 million. The Reds sold Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen for £35 million and continue to seek a replacement for the homegrown star. Crystal Palace and England ace, Mark Guéhi, was a hot topic earlier in the window and long before Isak hoovered up the headlines. However, developments on Guéhi's front ran dry as the month of July wore on. Guéhi is open to joining Liverpool, and the fact he's a homegrown player at Palace and in the final year of his contract places him in a unique position of power, according to the BBC. The outlet provided a much-needed update on Guéhi's situation on Wednesday evening, with their senior reporter, Sami Mokbel, explaining why Liverpool are still to act. Personal terms won't be an issue for the Reds, with the real problem laying in Palace's £40 million valuation. Mokbel wrote, Palace are believed to want around £40 million for Guéhi, but Liverpool want to pay less than that figure. The reporter added, Liverpool don't want to get drawn into a long saga over Guéhi's valuation and will only move if they believe the fee represents that the defender can join them for nothing next summer. In other words, Liverpool believe £40 million would be a huge overpayment for a player they could snap up for free 12 months from now. Unless Palace soften their stance or Liverpool bite the bullet and overpay, the Guéhi move is on standby. That poses a problem for Liverpool given Quansah has already departed. Wataru Endo can cover at centre-back, as can Andy Robertson, who has been displaced at left-back by Milos Kerkez. But in terms of senior and recognised centre-halves, Liverpool only have three options to call upon: Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez. Van Dijk is in his mid-30s, while Konate and Gomez have both struggled with injuries over the past few years. Without a new signing, Liverpool would be running an unnecessary risk in a season in which major trophies are expected. Furthermore, Mokbel was keen to stress Liverpool aren't the only game in town as far as Guéhi is concerned. Tottenham, Newcastle and Chelsea have all shown varying degrees of interest this summer.